If you need anything, I've got my phone and I'm going to put it on silent and leave it in the house.
Thanks. Hello, my name is Diane Spencer. Welcome to my channel. Thank you to everyone who subscribed. If you're new here, I'm a stand-up comedian. Please have a look around my channel, find some comedy you like. I can highly recommend A British Married Handjob. The video. That video got a lot of views and some people were genuinely surprised it was a comedy routine. Like there's gonna be some video of Mary Poppins whacking one off. In every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. Find the fun and whap! It's on your chin. Gordon Bennett, I think you got it in me tea. Kevin, my lovely husband, is fully aware of that video, and when it passed over 500,000 views, he got me presents. These things. Aren't they nifty? Maybe we're going to get a cow. I'd like to say a big thank you to my wall of sponsors. I really appreciate it so much. It looks like a darts championship. I'd quite like to give you all nicknames, so let me know what you want your nickname in the middle to be. Something that rhymes, bit of alliteration's good. John the Hurricane Hannaford, Simon the Diamond Inglis. Anything you like, really. If you follow me on my social media, you'll know that I've been mainly sewing face masks. I can highly recommend the freesewing.org FU face mask. That's what it's called, the FU face mask. Maybe it's like FU virus. I've been playing a lot of online games with my husband. Kevin likes to shoot me in the face.
Okay, less of the arrows to the face, darling. Less of the arrows to the face. Yes! Wow!
I bet she'd take a hot arrow to the face. Quite frankly, if it's a choice between being shot online in the face and shot IRL in the face, I'll take online any day. IRL, everything is so pale, it just looks like my face is melting. I'm the first on people's dinner parties list when the lockdown is lifted. I have a friend called Trip Ainsworth who is an author, and he did one of these challenges where he made a video on all about how he writes his books, and he set me a challenge. This video is for all my comedy nerds. Like anything I make is for anybody else. How I write my jokes. I write down my thoughts, experiences, and ideas into a notebook, and then I turn them into jokes. Maybe a little more depth? This video is how I write my jokes. It is not a tutorial. It's me sharing my process. Do not think of me as a teacher. Think of me more as a chirpy alcoholic that you met at a party, and now you've agreed to come to my bunker to see all my conspiracy theories and newspaper clippings. Can anybody send me some red string? When I'm writing material, I require an emotional stimulus to get me going. Don't we all? What I love to share the most is when something really funny has happened to me in real life. It can be an event, it can be something that somebody has said. It's usually done by somebody I love, like one of my family or my friends. It can be something that I've thought of myself. This funny thing has happened and I want to share it with you. I want you to laugh at it as much as I laughed at it.
My mum talks in double entendres. I will explain, like a normal person would say, "Oh, your cat looks sad, give him a cuddle." My mother says, "Your pussy looks sad, go stroke it." But when you're growing up with this, you don't notice it. So instead, like my mother would say, "Oh, I'm gonna," instead of saying, "I'm gonna go out gardening," my mother would say, "I'm gonna go out the back, get on my hands and knees and finger my beans." But as a child, you just go, "Can I finger your beans too, mummy?" And then she'd say something like, "Oh, I'd rather you did. Your father's way too rough with my tender buds."
The other main trigger for me is when I'm pissed off. If something really annoys me, I can be angry. I can let that anger sit inside me and boil, or I can turn it into material. I write jokes about it, and that way I've dealt with this. Then I tell you the jokes, and suddenly we've joined forces and we're laughing at the thing that pissed me off.
The first house she took us to, there were cats everywhere. And you might think, Diane, she did it. What an amazing estate agent. What's her number? Oh no. Because number one, we had to push our way in through the smell. Oh yeah, the cats had been doing their business in the carpet and they'd been living there for the last 20 years. Yeah, the estate agent described it as lived in. I described it as ammonia-soaked piss hole. And as we're walking around and like the owner of the house is like hoofing cats out the way, we can see that they've all got one deficit. Like there was one, they're missing an eye. There was one missing a leg. There was one sat there out of his mind with an erection, like that. And as we walk along, we all stop because we all see one lone cat turd. Like just in the carpet. Like she's trying to sell this house. And the estate agent went, visualize yourselves in this house. I thought, I can't visualize anything. My imagination's outside being sick. But we're still all looking at this turd. And then the woman who lives there, obviously this was her moment to shine. She went, oh, let me, yeah, sorry about that. She got a bottle of Febreze. Oh, fix! Like, I've never seen such a level of irresponsibility. I nearly clapped. I was like, wow, is this what you do when you own a house? You just fill it with whatever you love and never clean it again? Like, I could understand that. I rented my whole life, so to get back my deposit, I've scrubbed other people's property with such a savage obsession that bleach has entered my bloodstream. You know I'm black, right?
I tend to make spider diagrams. Sometimes I make lists, so I'll write the title and then I'll list things as I go down. Sometimes I'll write the setup of a joke and then I'll write one punchline after the next, just going down the book. It's kind of the same writing exercise repeated. I have one starting point, then I try to take that starting point into as many different directions as possible. To help me when I look back through this, I will number things, put boxes around things that I think are good, and if I really have a brainwave, I'll start writing in capitals. My handwriting changes a lot. Sometimes I've got this lovely cursive, swirly, calm, sort of Jane Eyre on a summer's day handwriting. Other times it's just carved in with capitals and it's very aggressive and shouty, and it's like my hand has gone, there's no way she's going to remember this. I'll just carve it in. I don't have a filter when I write in my notebook. By that, I don't mean that I suddenly erase all of my morals and things that I find acceptable or not. If you look at my notebook, you're not going to find sexism, racism, homophobia. If you want a book with any of those things, I suggest any monotheistic religious text. Mainly they seem to focus on these 3 issues and the persecution of women, which is weird. Okay, I don't know why I'm getting so much shit. I'm the only one who's making bread. What I mean by no filter is write without worrying what people will think. I take it in any direction I want. It means I've got a wider range of options to choose from if I need to improve a joke later and I want to add something to it. Despite what some people think, not every single one of my jokes is about sex. Not that there would be anything wrong with that. But within my notebook, because I have no filter, the range of jokes is a lot wider. Twee, innocent little jokes, they're sort of gently amusing. They're the kind of wordplay you'd find in child-appropriate Christmas crackers.
And Morgan Freeman narrates it. And what puzzles me is that not all of them make it. But they film it, and there was like a blizzard in March of the Penguins, and one penguin looks the wrong way for 10 seconds, he gets separated from everyone else, and the camera looks at the group, and Morgan Freeman says, "These are the lucky ones, because they will survive the winter." Pans to the lone penguin. But one of the members has got separated from the tribe, and now he begins his lonely walk to death.
And I'm watching this thinking, well, tell him. Put down the camera. Just run over to the penguin. Hello, they're over there.
Proper. They're inappropriate. They're revolting. I make me retch when I read them.
Like, this woman she's had 7 kids and there is no exercise regime whatsoever. There's going to be some collateral damage. What I'm saying is the first lesbian's going to fall in. Like, if you're serious about this, then you need to set up a guide rope system, some kind of buddy thing. I mean, going down on this woman, it's going to be like sort of Mission Impossible trying to lick moss off a cave wall.
Weird jokes with niche references. I am a sci-fi fan, and a friend of mine ran a cabaret night called May the 4th, on May the 4th, where it was all Star Wars themed cabaret acts. And I dressed up as Darth Spencer and did a stand-up set as though I was training to be a Sith Lord. That's not something I could necessarily do in a mainstream comedy club.
Well, welcome to the stage, Darth Spencer!
Thank you. Yeah, can I just point out that was Darth Maul who fell down the pit, not me. But apparently to some people, just because you're from Death the Wrong, you all look alike, you racist. So basically, I tried to do the Sith Lord training, and apparently I'm not very good at focusing my anger. So I guess I can't move things as well as everybody else. So they said do some stand-up comedy. It'll help you focus. Okay, so let's start with a good one. We were two Jedis. We're in Chinese, and Luke can't eat with chopsticks, and Obi-Wan says use the forks. But you know why? It's because they're uneducated. Okay, anyone from Alderaan in? Oh, which part? Too soon? Okay, cool.
Some days I'm just going through the motions. I put pen to paper. I just hope something comes out of it. Ideally, some enthusiasm. On really bad days where I am just stuck, I will stare out the window with the book open in front of me. That's when I know I have to step away from the book. I go do something else. Either I return to the book refreshed, or an idea will come to me as I'm doing something else. Cooking, sewing, anything where I'm doing something repetitive that I don't need to necessarily focus on completely. My sewing can be quite bad.
Okay, so that means that's wrong. Mwah.
Listening to music really helps me. I like to pick music that doesn't have any lyrics, quite dramatic music that builds up. So if I don't feel in the mood at the start of the piece, I'll definitely be thinking I'm on a roll by the end of the piece. My top 3 would be The Blue Danube by Strauss, the 1812 Overture by Tchaikovsky, and number 1, Bugs Bunny's favourite, Hungarian Rhapsody number 2 by Liszt. I sometimes wish it was like a puzzle. All the pieces were clearly defined. It was obvious where they belonged. And I wish I knew what the picture was, but I don't know any of these things. And it's like I'm trying to assemble this jigsaw in fog wearing oven mitts. I book myself into new material nights. Whether I like it or not, the date is going to come round. So that's when I have to collate what I've got so far, whether the material is ready or not, pick the best of the bunch and go for it. I pick which bits I'm going to do and I try to arrange them in sections. I'll usually write a heading, then I'll write bullet points going down to create a set list of new material. I use keywords to trigger me into remembering the rest of the joke. So the keyword has to be very memorable, and it's usually quite an inflammatory word. And then when you write them down as a list, it's not the ideal thing for people to be reading over your shoulder when you're going into your gig on a train. Clitor size. I know what it means, you know what it means. They do not know what it means. Right before I go on, I'm very, very nervous and I reread the jokes, and for some reason the punchlines stick out more and my brain says yes, yes, no, no, and my brain starts choosing and throwing away material, even in that moment. I wish that my brain could do this when I'm at home with time, but no. It is one of the things of doing a gig. I have pre-gig nerves, and if it's new material, I have severe pre-gig nerves. Over the years, I have come to recognise the symptoms. Going on stage may produce the following side effects: headache in the left temple, elevated pulse, nausea, abdominal cramps, feeling cold, shivering, diarrhea. The first time I was going on stage to do stand-up, I was so nervous, I thought my spine was going to slide out my bumhole. That's when I knew this was the career for me. When I'm on stage, I record myself with a camera and a dictaphone. Sometimes I will also use my mobile phone. This is the dictaphone that I use. It was a present from my mum and my dad. And this is the small camera. It produces a very tiny picture. On stage, I'll ad-lib. I'll think of funny toppers to the punchlines I've already written. I might even think of a funny way to say the punchline when I'm there. I might interact with the crowd and that'll produce something funny. So there's a lot to record. Although everything stems from the written word in the book, it's written to be performed. And so you can add so much to it, like with the tone of your voice, facial expressions that either confirm what you're saying or deny what you're saying. You can have accents. Like when I tell one of my stories, I like to embody the character and the person who is talking to me.
In travelling around the world, I have been to all the planets.
So that will include facial expressions, accents, mannerisms, actions, and all these should be recorded so that I can watch them back and hone them as much as I hone the words that I'm saying. My jokes are written to be performed out loud. They're not written to be read, like a greetings card. Maybe that could be a merch idea, a Diane Spencer greetings card. I like to celebrate lots of things. It's really important for me to record my gigs and watch them back because I am not a reliable witness at the time. I've just walked on stage with all my pre-gig nerves, so my body is in this state of adrenaline, shock. I'm trying to sell the new jokes, and at the same time, I'm queuing up the next new joke in my mind. I can't quite focus totally on their reaction, so recording it allows me to take a step back, clear the slate, watch it afresh, and find out what really happened. I also have great news. I've recently become a mother. Yeah, thank you. I mean, they're my stepkids, so they just fucking appeared. They are, they're 12 and 15, and they're both girls, so now I'm thinking of girly names. Kevin was like, "You can't rename them." I said, "Darling, they're children, not boats. You're so superstitious." I think that stepkids are a little bit like rescue animals. Like, as long as you just keep repeating the new name, they pick it up. They know. I mean, they're smart. And if you like combine it with treats, like the other day we were all going out, and the oldest one, she went, Di, you do know my name's Ellie? And I went, yeah, but you're my child now, and I want to go to Nando's with C-3PO.
I mean, the other one, she just kind of runs everywhere, so I've called her Fenton! Oh, so people are saying to me, are they going to be bridesmaids? Are they? Because you've got 2 little girls. And I'm like, no, they're so pretty. I'm not going to put, and they're like younger than me, they're skinnier than me, they're prettier than me. I'm not going to put them on my aisle on my day. Fuck no. Like, and they'll wear pretty dresses. And like, we go down in height as well. So if like Fenton goes first and then 3PO and then me, it'll just look like the decay of woman. It'll be so fucking depressing. And I have got a backup plan though. Like, I'm worried their dad's gonna push it and be like, oh no, please let them be bridesmaids. And I'll be like, yeah, okay, but kids like to dress up, don't they? Yeah, because I'm gonna make one of them go as Barney the dinosaur. And I'm gonna dress the other one as Peppa Pig. It's weird, you know, because you never, when you're a child, you never plan your life to this exact kind of point. You say, oh, I want to meet the love of my life and he will have kids. You never add that extra bit onto it. But I'm looking forward to it. I want to be a good stepmom and I want to be a pretty wife. I want to be a smilf. I'm going to have smilf written on a cap. Yeah.
I go back to my notebook and I watch or listen to the recording with my notebook open in front of me. I mark off what I did, I see what I missed, I write in all of the ad-libs that happened on the night, anything spontaneous. I'll make a note of any facial movements or expressions that stuck out. We have a tick system. Kevin developed this. If something goes really super well, it gets 3 ticks. 2 ticks, 1 tick. When I'm writing a new show, I'll sometimes type it out on the computer. Having to condense it into actual typed out sentences means I can see the structure of the sentence clearer and I can see if I've written something the wrong way round. And for some reason, this forces me to put in all the little words that I don't want to include when I write it as a couple of key ideas that I'm gonna mangle into a joke with my face. Typing the joke out helps me to consolidate the idea in my mind. But that doesn't mean that the joke can't be changed later. It just means I've worked out how I want to say it for now. I keep the good bits, and the bad bits I try to upcycle or I bin them. Working with the notebook, I can see what worked, what didn't, and this is where the writing process happens again. But this time I'm writing on top of existing material. When I rewrite something, I try to stretch the idea. I have the initial idea and I have the initial punchline, but then I'm like, well, what could be a topper to that punchline? Or what is a punchline that goes a step further than that? What is the extreme of this idea? What is the opposite of this idea? Am I using the right words? Are there words within this sentence that if I take one out or I change it, it becomes quirkier, it becomes better, it becomes stronger? What if I change the location of the joke? Am I being logical with the joke? Can I be silly with the joke? Can I be sillier with the joke? Who is the target of the joke? Who should be the target of the joke? So I just basically smear the joke all over the place. Just playing with it, really. And sometimes I get something really nifty out of it, and other times I just end up with a big mess. I write in the book, I make a selection. I do it on stage and I record it. I go back, I write in the book. I make a selection, I go on stage and I record it, and I just repeat. And I just keep repeating until I think it's ready. And then it won't really be ready until 9 years later, and I'll make a joke on how it was never ready and it's taken 9 years to mature. I overproduce and I fail a lot. Some people believe that comedians nail every gig. I know I don't, and I know that when I write new material, I'll die more often. Can you hear that ambulance? Synchronicity. Am I in a tunnel in Paris? Making and building enough new material to have a show this way does take time. I'm sure there's a faster process, but this is the way I do it. And that's what this video was about. Thank you so much for watching. That was my How I Write Jokes video. I hope you had fun watching it. I had fun making it. Let me know what you think in the comments section. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, do consider just gently tapping that little subscribe button. And do leave me a comment below. Sound like the Queen.
One does enjoy one's YouTube channel.
Thank you to all my sponsors. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye. Joe, 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 Joe.